योगः कर्मसु कौशलम्.
Hi, welcome to the session 3 of this course on HR planning. In the first session, we introduced HRM and discussed its importance for non-HR managers. After that, in the second session, we saw the roles of the HR manager. In this session, we are continuing that line of discussion to include the very beginning of the HRM process. As we had mentioned before, whether you are an HR manager or not, you need to consider the human effort required for delivering the outcomes expected of your unit. Your unit may be your team, section, department, division, organization, or a region. The consideration of what outcomes can be achieved involves consideration of human effort required and assessment of how much human resource is available. In the HRM terminology, an exercise of this kind is called HR planning. In the past, it used to be called personnel or manpower planning. Planning of this kind involves forecasting of demand and supply at a broader level of labor market from which the organization is going to draw the required human resources, coming down to the requirement at unit level. At the unit level, the availability and requirement of both the internal and external candidates is considered. Various tools of estimation are used for prediction with some degree of confidence. Effective acquisition of human resource cannot be performed without effective HR planning. Next, we present the definitions of human resource planning. Armstrong defined human resource planning or HRP as both quantitative and qualitative process of ensuring that the organization has the right people at the right time doing the right job. Furthermore, Pattanaik considers HRP as a process of analyzing an organization's human resource needs under changing conditions and developing the solutions necessary for satisfying those needs. Therefore, an organizational mission, goals, objectives, strategies, and policies must guide HRP. In simple words, HRP is an organizational process of deciding which positions the firm will have merged, modified, eliminated, created, and filled in foreseeable future and how it will do that. It includes all future positions from a maintenance clerk to the CEO. In either case, employment planning should flow from the firm's strategic plans. Thus, whether the company plans to enter a new business or reduce costs, all such factors influence the types of positions that would need to be filled. In other words, what sort of skills and competencies will the company need to execute its plan and achieve the desired outcomes? That is the question which triggers HR planning. One important question is whether to fill projected openings from within or from outside the firm. Each option requires different HR plans. If the hiring is going to be from outside the organization, it will involve consideration of recruitment sources, time frame to be given to those agencies, and the cost and benefits of such recruitment, among other factors. On the other hand, if the positions are to be filled from within, then one should consider what would happen to the positions from where such internal sourcing is done, whether there are redundant positions within the organization, whether the workload distribution is less than optimal, and whether the competencies of the position holder exceed the demand of their current jobs. These are referred to as build and buy approaches to HR planning. Like all good plans, HR plans involve forecast or estimates. Three considerations are important in HR planning: HR demand forecasting, which is about the number of open positions to be available in foreseeable future, the supply of inside or internal candidates, and the likely supply of outside or external candidates. Next, we discuss the meaning of HR demand forecasting, which is the process of estimating how many people would be needed. Forecasting human resource demand is the process of estimating the future HR requirement of desired quality and number. Large organizations with regular new recruitments usually perform analysis of employment trends in the labor markets. Internally, it helps to consider foreseeable departures on account of resignation, retirement, or termination. Further, it is helpful to analyze the current levels of productivity of employees, rate of growth and expansion of the organization. Existing design of various jobs must be thoroughly evaluated, taking into consideration the future capabilities of the present employees and expectations of performance on the job. Dessler and Warkey discussed with examples that a firm's employee need depends on its future goals, the demands of its products or services, the employee departures relative to its average workforce, and the levels of productivity. Managers generally look into these factors on daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, and or seasonal basis. Let's understand the same with some examples. In first example, Valero Energy Corporation is a US-based Fortune 500 international manufacturer and marketer of transportation fuels, other petrochemical products, and power. When Dan Hilbert took over staffing at Valero Energy, he discovered that the projected employment shortfalls were 4 times higher than Valero could fill with its current recruitment procedures. He formulated new personnel plans for boosting employee retention and started recruiting and screening more candidates. In second example, which is closer to home at retailers in India, we see that during festivals such as Diwali, Uttarayan, especially in Gujarat, or Onam, especially in Kerala, generally sales pick up in a seasonal cycle. Forecasting their staffing needs beforehand, many retailers employ and train more contractual or temporary staff in their stores. Much of the workforce engaged in informal, part-time or contractual employment may be linked with dual occupation of part-time agriculture and employment in the gap between harvesting and planting seasons. Hence, the organizations that hire temporary or contractual staff need to estimate availability and absence of such workforce by considering agricultural yield, rainfall, and such. Over and above these, government policies also shape the workforce demand. Introduction of a law prohibiting employment of child labor has made the industries responsible for hiring only the workers who are 18 years of age and above. Global developments affect the demand of the product or service offered by companies. During the last few years, IT or IT-enabled service industry or industries like diamond cutting and polishing have experienced a slump or stagnation which reduced their demand of workforce. While industry publications and economic forecasts serve as a good indicator for future demand, especially on a long-term basis, the same doesn't always work when the economy is in slowdown or some disrupting factor like political turmoil is present. Small, informal, and entrepreneurial firms often do not have access to such publications or are not aware of their existence. Now let's understand the basic methodology for forecasting HR requirement in 2 basic steps before we get into the specific techniques and tools of HR planning. The step 1 involves estimating the sales revenues for the next period under planning. At this time, it will help if you also consider competitive strategy, changes in the product line or services, requirements of complying with the laws and similar requirements. Step 2 involves estimation of the size of the staff required to support this sales volume. Managers should also consider other factors such as projected rate of employee departure, productivity changes, and available financial resources. Now, in order to make these basic estimates, a number of quantitative tools are available. Managers of large companies regularly use trend analysis, ratio analysis, and scatter plot charts, among others. Let us see what these are and how they work. Trend analysis means studying the variations in the firm's employment levels in past years. In trend analysis, data on number of employees in each department of the company, for example, sales, production, warehousing, at the end of each year are compiled and compared to identify the past trend. Based on this trend, future staffing needs are estimated. Trend analysis can provide an initial rough estimate of future staffing needs. However, other factors such as workforce demographics, retirements, changing skill needs, etc. will also influence impending workforce needs. Then there is ratio analysis. Ratio analysis works by making forecasts by calculating the ratio between two factors and tracking how the ratio changes over time. It can be better understood with an example. Suppose a salesperson typically generates rupees 2 lakhs worth of sales in each period. Thus, for each salesperson hired, that is causal factor, the company makes revenue of 2 lakh rupees, which is the effectual factor. So, we can find the sales revenue to salespeople ratio, and based on that, a prediction can be made that the company will need to hire 6 new salespersons in order to reach its sales revenue target of additional 12 lakh rupees. Like trend analysis, ratio analysis also provides a rough estimate of staffing needs. Not only do other external factors influence ratio analysis, but also some of the assumptions it makes may or may not be valid. For example, as discussed, the ratio analysis is based on the assumption that the productivity of the salespersons will remain the same. If sales productivity of each salesperson changes, or the characteristics of the territories that different salespersons handle are different, the ratio of sales to salespeople would not be that reliable an indicator. Next is scatter plot. A scatter plot is a graphical representation of how two variables such as sales and firm staffing levels are related. When a number of observations involving the two variables are plotted, the plot reveals a trend line. It is a better visual representation of ratio analysis, in other words. However, it suffers from the same shortcomings as trend analysis or ratio analysis, such as one is historical sales or business or personnel relationships assume that the firm's existing activities and skill needs will be continued as it is. Second is they tend to institutionalize existing ways of doing things even in the face of change. Third is they ignore the effect of factors such as new technology, new skills learnt over time, and good teamwork on operations and work output. So, the question is how to improve performance of planning and forecasting exercise. Recent advances in technology have enabled companies to use Human Resource Information System or HRIS. While basic tools such as trend analysis, ratio analysis, etc. are useful in arriving at a rough estimate, electronic forecasts such as HRIS assist managers to add more variables and arrive at a more accurate personnel projections. We will discuss HRIS later in this course. Now we are ready to discuss the supply side of human resource. As mentioned before, the human resource may be sourced internally as well, so the supply estimation needs to consider the same. So the question we need to consider is what is the forecasting for supply of internal or inside candidates. Most firms focus first on inside candidates. Doing so presents a number of advantages, as we will discuss soon. The main task here is determining which current employees might be qualified for new openings. Here, the manager often turns to qualification or skill inventories. These contain data on employees' performance records, educational background, and eligibility based on skills. Whether manual or computerized, these help managers determine which employees are available for promotion or transfer. Department managers or owners of small firms often use manual devices to track employee qualifications. Thus, a personal inventory and development record acts as sources to compile qualification information on each employee. This information includes education, company-sponsored courses taken, career and development interests, languages known, desired assignments, and skills. Personnel replacement charts are another option, particularly for the firm's top positions. They show the present performance and promotability for each position's potential replacement. As an alternative, one can develop a position replacement card. For this, one needs to create a card for each position showing possible replacements as well as their present performance, promotion potential, and training. In large firms, one cannot track the qualifications of hundreds or thousands of employees manually. Thus, computerized skill registers or CSR come in handy where the information is computerized using various software systems and thus can be easily managed and retrieved. Then there is Markov analysis. Employers also use a mathematical process known as Markov analysis or transition analysis to forecast availability of internal job candidates. Markov analysis involves creating a matrix that shows the probabilities of employees to move from one position to another in the chain of feeder positions. For example, it may show the probability of a junior engineer to move to an engineer position or to a senior engineer position. Like CSR, Markov analysis also relies heavily on the accuracy of employee data available. In the recent times, internal recruiting has become increasingly popular. For example, SR Group, ICICI Bank, and Aditya Birla Group have formal mechanisms to tap internal talent first for vacant positions. SR has developed an in-house initiative called Next Moves, which actively searches for internal candidates against vacancies and also allows candidates from any other group company to apply for suitable jobs in the group. Filling open positions with inside candidates has several advantages. First, the employers already know about the strengths and weaknesses of an internal candidate and thus are in a better position to determine the suitability of the candidate for the role. Second, filling an open position with an internal candidate raises the morale of the existing employees as they see the internal promotion or transfer as a reward for their hard work, loyalty, and competence. Third, internal candidates require less training and orientation in terms of work ethics and cultural environment and thus can adapt faster than the outside hires. However, hiring from within can also backfire sometimes. Rejected applicants may become discontented, leading to drop in their productivity. Immediate supervisors may not favor moving subordinates internally, both due to the fact that it may lead to destabilizing the established workflow in the department and the supervisor may feel overlooked. Now I will talk about forecasting the supply of outside candidates. Employers cannot always get all the employees they need from their current staff and sometimes they just don't want to. In today's diverse job environment, companies look for a number of skill sets such as leadership, teamwork, creativity, and communication. sometimes it is expected that the incumbent of the position will bring about change. Internal candidates may not present the best chance to fulfill these expectations. Also, hiring of outsiders doesn't deplete the existing workforce while adding people with new ideas, skills, and work ethos. Apart from the conventional sources of outside recruiting, such as postings in newspapers and job listings, online recruitment method has become increasingly popular. Online recruitment is the process of using the internet to seek out and recruit talented candidates for an organization actively. While a number of online job portals have cropped up, companies are hiring based on social networks such as LinkedIn and Facebook that has also increased. Now that we have discussed how to prepare personnel plans, let us discuss some other associated terms in recruitment. These will help in understanding some of the common errors made by managers in the recruitment process as well as in suggesting ways about how to avoid them. There is predictive workforce monitoring in talent management. Most employers review their workforce plans every year or so, but this is not always sufficient. For instance, having failed to do much formal workforce planning, many organizations sometimes do not have sufficient time to implement a plan to address the replacement of employees who would soon retire. Regarding best talent management practice, workforce planning therefore requires paying continuous attention to workforce planning issues. Managers call this predictive workforce monitoring. For example, Intel Corporation conducts semi-annual organization capability assessments. The staffing department works with the firm's business heads twice a year to assess workforce needs, both immediate and up to 2 years in future. Amerada Hess has an organizational capability group to monitor and predict workforce attention such as retirement age, experience, education, etc., and likely talent requirements. The group considers how each line of business is evolving, examines what jobs at Hess will look like in future, identifies sources for procuring the best talent, and assists in developing current and newly hired employees. Hindustan Unilever considers workforce planning as an integral part of business success. It combines both short-term, that is 1 year, and long-term, that is 5-year business plans to project the quantitative and qualitative people requirements as well as capability gaps. Boeing Corporation considers various factors when predicting talent gaps as part of its workforce modeling process. These include Boeing workforce demographic characteristics such as age, retirement eligibility for employees with various skills, economic trends, anticipated increases or decreases in staffing levels, and internal transfers and promotion. Let us consider for a while the importance of effective employee recruitment. Effective employee recruitment means finding and attracting the right applicants for the employer's positions. In India, where many job applicants do not possess employable skills, the need for effective recruitment is very important. Even with unemployment rates high till recently, many employers have found getting qualified applicants quite challenging. Effective recruiting is not easy. First, some recruiting methods are superior to others depending on the job. Second, recruiting depends on non-recruitment issues such as pay scales. Third, employment law prescribes and at times limits what one can do. Recruitment is closely related to HR planning. Filling a relative handful of positions might require recruiting dozens or hundreds of candidates. Managers therefore use a staffing or recruiting yield pyramid. The historical arithmetic relationships between recruitment leads and invitees and interviews, interviews and offers made and offers accepted. Centralized versus localized recruitment. For many firms, it is much more comfortable to recruit centrally now that so much recruiting is from the web. However, if language and location of prospective candidates are important and local factors have to be considered while recruiting, recruitment is best conducted locally. Many Indian firms have adopted a model which combines both. Managerial and executive recruitment are centralized, and plant or office support staff recruitment happens locally. Rehiring. Let us see the pros and cons of rehiring ex-employees. Rehiring someone has its own pros and cons. For pros, former employees are already familiar with how things are done in a company, leading to reduced settling time and faster output. On the other hand, employees whom the company has once let go may return with negative attitudes and hamper the productivity of the workforce. Existing employees may not be happy when returning employees are given higher positions or salary. Before rehiring, all these factors need to be taken into consideration along with a few others such as what has the employee done in the intervening period, reason for wanting to return, any skills learned during this period, and so on. Another related concept is employee retention. Employee retention refers to the various policies and practices which let the employees stick to an organization for a more extended period. Every organization invests time and money to groom a new joinee, make him a corporate ready material, and bring him at par with existing employees. The organization is entirely at a loss when employees leave their job once they are fully trained. Employee retention takes into account the various measures taken so that an individual stays in an organization for longest possible period. And the last concept we present is performance management. The fundamental goal of performance management is to promote and improve employee effectiveness. It is a continuous process where managers and employees work together to plan, monitor and review an employee's work objectives or goals and his or her overall contribution to the organization. In summary, we have discussed today the concept and process of HR planning, tools used for HR planning, and terms which are closely related to HR planning. We will see you soon for the next session. Thank you.